Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm at Castle Hayne practicing for the Azalea Am. I'm going to kind of go over what my strategy is for the course on a few holes and kind of show you what I'm thinking as we play along. As we go through these holes, I'm going to start playing from the long pad, complete the hole, and then do the short pad. So, starting on hole 1, this one's semi-attackable. It's a pretty straight shot that finishes to the right. So I'm going to use a DGA Rift and just forehand flex it down to the basket. The hole is only about 320 feet and is slightly downhill, but I get a nice hyzer flip and it drifts slightly to the right the entire way before finally hooking up at the end. And here I'll tap in my birdie. I'll throw this shot again in the tournament because it's super repeatable. From the shorts, this hole is still really attackable. It's only the last 50 feet or so that are tricky. I'm just looking for something that'll get up to the roots. Now here, unfortunately, I shank my shot. It comes out really early. Gets lucky, filters down towards the ditch. Fortunately, where I landed in an area where I can get up and down pretty easy for par. I have a good look at the basket, and I'm just going to forehand flex a harp. It'll fly pretty straight and settle right by the basket. And with my awesome camera awareness, you can see exactly where I landed right next to the basket. Now we're jumping over to hole 5, which is a little funny. This one I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can by doing a backhand flex with a Malta. It has just enough carry where it'll glide to the right but then finish left, and I should end up right near the mouth and end up with a par. I absolutely got the result I was looking for. I'm probably about 50 feet short of the basket, so I can give this a run. There's not a high likely chance I'll make it, but I still have a look. So putt once, bad. I can still make that and recover. So tried again a little bit more Anheuser, and the result's not going to be too much better. It just high floats and sits right behind the basket. Now 5 from the short is just a stock hyzer shot. You want something that's going to move from right to left and hopefully not hit any of the early trees. Now I did not throw this one very well, hit one of the early trees, but I still have a look to get up and down to the basket. Here I'm just throwing my Berg and trying to get it close enough to where I don't have to work too hard for a putt. Unfortunately, I get a little bit more kick and skip to the left than I'd like, and I'm left with about a 20-footer, which is a little bit of a tester for me. Anyway, I'm lining up my putt, and it sinks. Moving on to hole 6, this is a pretty manageable par 4 if you throw 2 good shots. It's not the easiest birdie for me to get, but it is a much easier par. All I'm really looking to do is throw this hex, hug the right side, and get it down to the corner. Once I'm at the corner, I'll have an open look towards the basket. I'm getting a nice drift up to the left and scooting up to the corner, just like how I want. Ideally, I would have gotten another 15 to 20 feet further into the corner, but from where I'm at, I could chip a hyzer around the corner to get to the basket. Unfortunately, I hit a tree and got kicked into the woods. Fortunately, I'm just on the edge of the rough and have a good look at the basket. I'm just going to chip my Berg up on a hyzer and then let the pine straw skip it towards the basket. After that upshot, I'm left with just a 10-footer, so an easy putt. From the short, this hole is much more attackable. All I'm really trying to do is get a shot to the back edge of the corner to have an easy look at the basket. I misfire right here and end up really inside and pinched off. From this angle, all I'm really trying to do is flex a forehand and let it flatten out towards the basket. However, I yank it and get kicked pretty deep into the woods, and I'm in a pretty bad spot. I got kicked bad enough that my only option was to throw a forehand roller out and try to get to the edge of circle, which I've done here, and I'm pretty reasonably happy about that. And the only way to save par now is to try to run it. And since I'm not a very good putter, I get close but hit chains. But it's just not meant to be today. On 7, if I try to play a conservative layup shot or just rip a forehand down, either way, I'm likely to end up in a rough spot, so I might as well just be aggressive. I'm going to forehand flip this getaway and try to get it down to the basket. I put just a touch of angle on it, it rides to the left like how I want, and I'm now in circle 1. Stepping up to this 20 to 25 footer is a little nervy because one bad hit and I can roll downhill. This is absolutely bonus birdie, one I'm not expecting to get, but one I would love to make if given the opportunity. So my first putt's going to hit a little low here, and then my second one's going to hit a little high, so I'll be happy walking away with just the par. This is a much easier hole to get from the short, so I'm going to go with my harp and let it fade naturally to the right. The pine straw is going to let it skip straight and to the right, so hopefully I'll be parked right next to the basket. I sawed my shot off early, so the only thing I can do is just lay up with the berg. I get to the top side of the basket and walk away with the par. Before we move on to the next hole, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you like this kind of video where I talk about my game plan and go over how I'm practicing, be sure to hit the like button. Not only does it let me know I'm doing a good job, it also lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job and that you guys like this video. Back to the content. Hole 10 is another manageable par 4 and probably the shortest par 4 on this course. All I'm really looking to do is throw a putter straight through the initial gap and have it work its way left right down the fairway. Now with my tee shot, I throw it way too high. It's going to have enough air time to drift left and get into the brush. Where I landed, there are lots of little trees and lots of little windows, and I don't quite feel comfortable throwing a backhand or forehand through them, so my next best option is the forehand roller. I hit the base of the tree, hit a root, still get a roll forward, and I've got a great layup spot to the basket. As you can see from this spot, I've got a wide open look at the basket, and all I'm really looking to do is pitch up and not get in more trouble. Besides being elevated, the other potential danger on this hole is a headwind putt, which can happen if you land short of the basket, so being long is going to be ideal. From the short pad, hole 10 becomes a much harder par 3, especially with a headwind coming down this tunnel. There is a gap late that you have to hit in order to score well. I'm just hyzer flipping that rift and trying to get near the basket. Where I landed is a little bit awkward. I'm kind of right in the middle of all the little scraggly stuff, but I've got a 25-foot look for birdie. As long as I make it through that late gap getting to the basket, I have an opportunity like this every time. Hole 11 is an interesting beast. There's two different plays I can go for. The first one being the safe play, which is just chip a forehand and get past this initial tunnel and then have a long approach to the basket. The second approach is going to be really wind dependent. In this case right here, it was a left to right, but I'm going to throw another backhand flex with that Malta and just let it drift to the right and then flatten out and then try to get it to land towards where the woods start back up where I can have a short approach to the basket. I didn't put quite enough angle on it and it drops into the brush on the left where I'm going to be pitched off. From the short pad, I'm trying to keep it pretty simple, either a flat shot or a hyzer, working from right to left. Here I'm throwing that berg, throwing it on the hyzer as it works its way left, skips a little bit on the straw, and then I have an easy approach to the basket. Once again, my phone died while I was out on the course, but as you can see, based on the way I'm trying to play, when I'm playing the long pads, if the hole's semi-attackable, I might go for it, or at least I'm going to give myself a chance to look at it. But overall, my plan is just to not bleed strokes from the longs. And on the shorts, it's much more attackable, so I'm looking to not give up any bogeys if possible at all. Anyway, March 25th and 26th is the Azalea Am tournament, so wish me luck.